Come on.
There it is. And we are live. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in and for joining us on today. I am so excited to be in conversation with the one and only Lynn Meyer,
Yes, thank
who
you.
is the author of this very complex book, No Excuse. No
No
more.
more.
No more.
Well, then this one is no more excuses. That's why you said that.
Okay, no more. Okay, I knew excuses somewhere in there.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fine. That's why.
So no, we're gonna start out with no more,
Mhm.
and I'm looking forward to this conversation. So please share, please please follow the Doc Bookshop. We're going to delve into this book. Um, it's this book is dealing with sexual abuse, and so definitely share this. And while you're doing that, I'm going to make sure that we are live on all channels
Okay.
because I have gone live
And you
before,
were not.
and I was not.
I
So-
understand it
So
happens.
I want to make sure
It definitely happens. But it's
we
gonna be
are-
a great conversation. No worries.
we are.
And for those that watch the replay, this may be a trigger warning for you because it may be something that brings up feelings for you, emotions, and that's okay. It's
That's
okay.
okay.
You're safe. You're okay, and we're gonna talk about it. Because it's one of those things people that really don't want to discuss, but it is so necessary, and so that's what we do.
Okay,
So
great.
we're ready.
Okay, we are ready. We are on all channels. Thank you for
Yep.
those who tuning in on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay. First of all,
Yeah.
before we go any further, let me
Yeah.
just introduce myself.
Get myself.
For those who don't know, I'm Donna Creta. I'm one of the co-owners of the Doc Bookshop.
Mhm.
The Doc Bookshop, we're actually celebrating 17 years this month, and we just love books. We love community. We love our authors. We just love the whole aspect of literacy. And so today for our sipping shop, we have guest authors here, and one author that's visiting us is Lynn Meyer. She stopped by to discuss her book, No More, and let's just delve into it. Lynn,
Let's
tell
do
us
it.
about you before we go any further. Who is
So.
Lynn Meyer?
All right, I love this question because most people always say they drop titles. I don't care anything about titles. Titles are important to people. They're not important to me. So I'm very funny. My children may not think so, but I am. I have a great sense of humor. Like I'm compassionate. I'm very direct and very honest.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
so
can tell.
and so I just show up that way. That's just who I am. But for those that do like titles, I am a mom, I'm a wife, I'm a therapist, I'm an author, entrepreneur, all those things. And so that's just a little bit. Oh, I do like to say this. I have been in the mental health field for 24 years as a licensed professional counselor.
Okay.
So I know a little bit of something.
Right, and
Okay.
it can also tie into mental health awareness. So, okay, so when you wrote this book,
Yes, let's talk about it.
first of all, explain to me how long did it take you to write this?
Oh, that's the question I love.
You know,
Okay.
first of all, okay, real quick for those who don't know about No More, when being a victim of sexual abuse is no longer an option.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
just kind of tell us the process. How long did it take you to write this
Ooh.
book? I mean,
Ooh.
what?
The first time I said I was going to write a book, I was early 20s. And so I told my friend, I said, I'll have this book written when I'm 25. No.
Okay.
Life happened, all the things happened, but I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready because at the time I felt like it was too much going on the inside of me. And I was just like, I can't do this yet. I'm not ready for judgment. I'm not ready for comments. I'm not ready for what people have to say about me and my family. I'm not ready. So 2017, I met this lady in Houston, and she had a publishing company and some other stuff, media stuff she does that she does. And I said, ooh, I'm ready to write a book. She's like, about what? And I told her, I said, well, I was sexually abused by my father, And my mom knew about it because she was the one that prepared my body and gave my body to my father. I know a lot of people say that. It's okay. It's okay.
Girl, I mean,
take it in. Take it in. I know. But
see,
I can speak about
this is heavy. This is heavy.
That's why I said trigger warning.
But you know, the reason why I invited you here, though, on Mother's Day, because a lot of women, a lot of mothers have suffered abuse.
Yes.
And so we want to just encourage them and to provide healing from them. And your book does that.
For sure.
But let's hear your story. So
that's the thing. And so
so you actually started in 2017?
2017, and then I went back and then I found this lady that has the media publishing company. And she said, so tell me about your story. And I told her a little bit like what I just said. She said, are you ready? And I was like, let me think. I think I sat there like 2 minutes, which felt like 15. And I said, this is what I said to her. I said, I'm ready. I'm ready to talk, not to expose, but to heal. And she looked at me, I looked at her, and I said, I'm ready. She says, you're ready. Because in the beginning, like I said before, if I had shared this when I wasn't ready, I know I would not have been able to hear comments and handle all that. And I was just like, no. But when I said that, I said, oh, yeah, I'm ready. Because now, let me tell you something, Donna, there's nothing anyone can say to me to where I'm like, oh, I feel ashamed. I'm not ashamed about anything my dad did, my mom did, how I acted, how I reacted. I'm not ashamed about anything. So when I felt that in my spirit, I'm being silly. When I felt it in my spirit, I was just like, oh, I'm ready. And that's what happened. Wow. That's how this, if I'm looking at it correct, I think it was 2018 when we published this. Oh, 2018, but it was copyright for 2019.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how I got started. And the reason why it's called No More is simply because it stops with me. My mom was raised, my grandmother raised her children, which is my mom and my aunt, in an environment to where they were not considered priority because my grandmother allowed my grandfather to have girlfriends. So now my mom and my aunt saw that, okay? Mm-hmm. So think about how that messes with the psyche of a child. You see your mom allowing your father to have girlfriends. So my mom grew up confused, very insecure. She had 2 husbands. The first husband beat her. My dad beat her. And so all that came, and then we grew up as children. It gets deeper. And we grew up in that, and then it was like, who's going to stop this? And I was like, me. I'm about to stop it. So that's why it says no more. And then, of course, the subtitle is when being a victim of sexual abuse is no longer an option. I was like, no, this is not going to continue. We're going to stop everything that's disgusting. We're going to stop everything that's harmful. We're going to stop everything that is like damaging the bloodline. So that's how I came up with it.
That's awesome. Just to break those cycles.
Yeah. Cycles, patterns, all of that. Because that's what they were.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your environment.
Okay.
So what it was? So share with us. It was a Jew, and how many siblings? Did you
so I have. It was 7 of us total, and they had 2 separate children because my first siblings are old enough. Everybody's old enough to be my parent, actually. Okay.
So you the youngest?
Yes. Every sibling I have could really be my parent, except for like the one that's closest to me and then the one above him because they're just a little bit older. But they had certain children. They had like stair-step children, and then they had a break, and then they had my brother and I.
Okay.
So that's how that was. So in total, it was 7 of us. Living is still 6 of us. We lost our sister 13 years ago to cancer, but that's how that environment was. It was just.
Now, is your mom and dad still alive?
My mom has dementia. She is still living. My dad passed away 6 years ago.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so so now when you wrote this book, how did your family respond to this book? Were they supportive of the book?
Great question.
Did you know how did they respond? First of all, did you talk to them about it before?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Because the reason why I wanted to tell them is because so back up just a little bit. Before I wrote the book, I actually told my my sibling. No one knew except for the sister that's 12 years older than me. No one else in the family knew.
So
Like my
so
siblings
it didn't happen
know.
to them. It's
No.
you're the only one that it happened to.
Look,
At least that you know of. Right?
Okay, we'll
Right.
go with that for now.
Oh, okay.
But they didn't know. They didn't know.
That you were being.
No, the only one that knew is, like I said, the one that's 12 years older than me.
You told
My
her.
brother, because she was part of it.
Oh Lord.
So you remember when I said my mom washed my body or prepared my body for my dad? Well, yeah. Well, sometimes like after my dad had abused me, my sister was told to wash my body. So she was like, "What? This is disgusting. What are y'all doing?" So she knew. I know. It's okay. Let's continue. It's okay. So she knew. So she's the only one that knew. So when I went back and I told my siblings,
Did she try to stop it or?
yeah, she tried to stop it. Yes,
Okay.
absolutely, she tried to stop it. But my other siblings had no idea, which then made sense because I had siblings thinking I was the favorite, and I was spoiled. And I would tell them, I said, y'all have no idea what I'm going through. You're the favorite, you're the favorite. I'm like, okay, I'm not the favorite. Not like you think. So when I told them, they were like, write it. Write the book. Yes, write it. So they gave me support. Absolutely. Absolutely,
Wow.
they did. They supported me wholeheartedly because I was just like, okay, some stuff may come out. Just letting you know. And they
How
say,
long did
write
it go on?
It stopped when I was in 3rd grade. So it started when I was like 1.5, and it stopped like when I was 3rd grade. So I was 8 or 9.
Oh, I'm having a hard time. I'm sorry. I might need.
Yeah, it's okay.
Danya,
Can y'all bring Tito? Can you bring some tissue?
I need some tissue and I need some water.
Mm-hmm.
Ashley, please bring some water.
Yeah.
Okay. This is crazy. You are and I'm just trying to. So did you get therapy? I'm going ahead now.
Yeah, you can. You can go ahead.
But no, like, how did you? Okay, let me ask you this.
Because this is how people take it.
Did you act out in school or anything?
So
like
this
that?
is the thing. I acted out in the yes, ma'am, because you just never know.
Right.
I acted out in the way that, and this is for all parents. Please listen to what I have to say. When children act out, it's not always a bad attitude.
Oh yeah,
It's not
that's
always.
true.
It's not always. How should I say?
They bad. Why? You gotta ask why.
No. I'm not even saying that. It's not like, oh, you keep getting in trouble. Oh, this keeps happening. I didn't act out like that. I was not a terrible child.
Oh,
I excelled. I excelled.
Oh, okay.
In school, in choir, in track, in anything I did, I excelled. That was my cry. And people didn't even know. They were like, she's such a good child. But I'm like, but inside I'm dying. Okay? So that's what parents need to look out for. That's another way of acting out. Because I did not give my parents a hard time at all.
To be too good.
I didn't act out at all.
And
And everybody was like, she's such a great student. Oh my God. I'm just like, help me.
wow.
So did I act out? Yes, but in that way.
Interesting.
Anything I did, I excelled at. Piano, choir, track, my grades. I was an A student. I was National Honor Society. I was 35 in my class. In my high school graduate, I was a excellent child.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We're gonna delve into the book, and we're gonna go. I'm just gonna read through the chapters,
Yeah.
and you chime in. If something stands out,
Okay, let's do it. I like that. Let's go.
Just chime in.
Everybody breathe. Those that are watching,
We're gonna breathe. And tell us, who is Alyssa Jones? She did
Okay,
a
so
full
Alyssa
word,
Jones-
and Adrian Bell did.
Okay. Adrian is the one that I was talking about that had the publishing media company.
Okay.
Alyssa Jones, I'm trying to remember her, Survivors with Voices. I met her around the same time I met Adrian, and she had a conference for women that were dealing with domestic violence. And I said,
okay.
oh my God, I need to talk to you. And so we conversed and we talked about, I was one of the people in her, what do you call that? Anthology.
Oh, in her book?
In her book.
Okay.
And so that's how it started. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just delve into this book. Again, you all, thank you for tuning in. I'm in conversation with Lynn Meyer. She's the author of No More, When Being a Victim of Sexual Abuse is No Longer an Option. And we're just having a very deep conversation. It's just a lot. I'm trying to digest this. So, but let's delve into this book. You know, tell us about Poor Baby. Introduction, Poor Baby.
So, Poor Baby, it was more of the, like when people have pity and they say, oh, poor baby. Mm. So, I wore the label of victim proudly. Let me tell you why. Because that got me attention. How? People love victims. People love victims. Oh my God, that happened to you? Oh my, people love victims. That's why I say that. It's like if you were a victim of anything, it doesn't have to be violent. It doesn't have to be a rape or whatever. If you are a victim of someone snatching your purse, and they would say, Donna, are you okay?
Oh yeah, okay.
People love. Come on.
And you wanted that attention?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Why not? That's why I tell my babies don't be victims. I tell them that almost every day. Because you can wear that label of victim and you can get caught up in people like catering to you. And then now you don't know what to do but to be validated by what they think.
Okay. So this chapter.
That chapter was like, yeah, poor baby. Like, oh my God.
But you've been through a lot though.
Okay.
Like that's.
Yeah. I have.
Did you get therapy?
I did. When I decided to do it on my own. My parents tried to make me go to therapy when I was young, adolescent. They tried to force me to go.
You didn't go?
I went, but I gave that man a hard time. First of all, he was an old white man. And I looked at him and I told him, I said, sir, there's nothing you can do for me because you can't even relate to the teenager sitting right in front of you. I said, you're an old white man. I'm a young black child. And you don't know anything about me. And he kind of looked like, what? Sir, this is going to be, ridiculous. It's going to be a waste of time. I think I went to him twice. And he told my parents, he was like, she's not going to. And I'm glad because I would have wasted my parents' money. So.
Okay.
But I did decide to go to counseling when I was a young adult because now it was my choice. Yeah. And it, and I needed that. So.
Okay. Yes, so real quick before we delve into the book. So So you said it stopped like in third grade. Did you tell somebody? Did you finally say?
No, I didn't tell anyone. So this is the other part too. My household. My dad,
a teacher. Or
no, my dad, no, because everybody thought I was a great child. I don't think they would even have believed that. I really don't think they would have believed that because my parents, my mom knew how to mask. Like, okay, who taught you how to lie? I ask that question to my clients sometimes because that's a question I ask to myself. Who taught me how to lie? Were my parents. My parents taught me how to lie. Wow. My dad, he would present like a really good guy, but he was not. He was horrible. Everything about him horrible? No. My mom walked around like she was terrified of my dad, which is the other half of the environment. My dad would beat my mom. So she didn't know what to do but to show up like, yeah, everything is awesome. Like, that's how she showed up. Wow. Yeah.
Okay, so chapter 1, we're dealing with just faking it. That's what you.
So, that's pretty much what I was talking about. Like, I am like
so your parents. Yeah, just faking it.
Yeah, they're just faking it. Everybody was just faking it. I was faking it. They were faking it, and that's. I think that's the reason why our.
What about your brothers? Did they know?
No, Donna. No one knew, but my sister. No one knew. They only my other siblings only found out maybe like 2017.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they're like, how we let that go under the radar?
No. They actually start beating up on themselves. Because then they start thinking about like how they treated me. Because they were mean to me.
Your siblings were mean to you?
Yeah, and saying I was like a brat, like I was
spoiled,
like that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Oh, she gets whatever she wants. I'm like, but y'all don't know what I gotta go through.
Yeah. Okay. And so they was just faking it.
Just faking it. Yep.
Tell the truth and stop the BS.
Yeah. So it was more like I knew I was sabotaging myself. Early 20s, but I couldn't stop yet. I was just like, but you keep doing this, but I didn't know anything else but to sabotage.
You said sabotage, what you mean?
Opportunities, relationships, career,
So did you have
anything
you
good
had
in my
hard
life.
time?
Anything good in my life. I didn't trust people because I didn't trust myself.
Yeah.
And if right, because if love came my way, I was just like, Opportunities came my way, because I was set up in a household where I couldn't trust. If I can't trust the two people that's supposed to take care of me, I definitely don't trust you because you're a stranger.
Right.
So yeah, so then that's when I started like, okay, just tell what's going on. What's going on with you? And I would use words like broken, damaged, whatever, like all the words. And then I said, this is why you show up the way you show up. And so that's what that's about. It's like, just tell the truth. Stop it. You know, you're hurt. Say you're hurt. Stop walking around acting like, oh, I'm big and tough.
Everything
say
is okay.
You're hurt.
If you're in pain, say I'm in pain.
Say you're hurt. Yeah.
And get some help.
And that's it. Like, stop acting like everything is great. You know,
especially when
I'm
it's
this
not.
tough person.
I can
handle it. Just say I'm hurt. I don't know what I'm doing.
And I'm
about to destroy my life, whatever. And get some help. So that's what that was.
And so so as far as to tell the truth and stuff to BS, when did you finally decide to do that?
So it's down here. It's the one that says May 2002.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Mm-hmm.
So you finally came to the realization that you just need to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And then you had a dying to self.
For sure.
Okay, talk to us about that dying to self.
Oh. Okay. This is gonna sound
We're
a
on
little
chapter
bit graphic.
3, dying to self.
This is gonna sound a little bit graphic, but this is the way I say it. I literally had to kill my old self in order for me to live.
Wow. Talk us through that. What you mean?
I had to, like, because
and how did you do that? Like,
she was a liar. She had been through so much. She was a liar, and I understand that. But this is the thing, and I'm not saying it for anybody else that are watching. I'm not saying that you are like. I'm only talking about my experience.
Right.
I don't want anybody saying like, "Ooh, she's calling me dumb." No, I'm not. No, I'm not. This is me. I'm talking about me, not you and what you've been through.
Yeah.
But I just lied so much. Like I was okay, and I wasn't. And I said, in order for her to get the things that she wants, she has to go. You got to destroy her. She can't come along. Literally, like she can't get in the car and be a passenger. She has to go. And I said, what we got to do about her? I said, you got to kill her.
So in a sense,
she has
so
to go.
Interesting the way you're talking. Make it. This happens to a lot, I think, of us who go through trauma.
It does.
That you actually create conversations and separate people, and you know, and so like you find yourself talking with yourself
all the time. I sure did.
And so you're like, I think it was it Black Lightning, one of those movies where they had one of the self fighting against the other self.
Oh, that's how it felt.
And like you had to kill that.
That's how it felt.
Yeah. In order to survive.
And there you go.
You know, because it was the other self was so toxic.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, you had to get rid of it.
Had to go.
And so you had to go through that struggle.
I did go through that struggle.
Now, did you just go through that struggle on your own, or did you have therapy, or were you just
kind of did therapy? Later on in life, I did therapy.
But during this time, you were just on your own battling. So what was going on in your life? Did you have children and doing all that? And
no,
you was in college. Where were you at when you was
kind of like college? Because I was extremely this is the other thing. This is the other way I acted out when I became older. I was very promiscuous, and I would So this is the thing. My dad was an alcoholic, and then he became a dry drunk, and then he started abusing opiates. Okay, so as they say, things can be genetic or hereditary. The good thing about me is like alcohol for me, it hurts my stomach. I'll drink it, but it hurts my stomach. So in college, I tried to cope with it. I tried to cope with alcohol, and every single time I would do it, I felt like I was on the verge of alcohol poisoning. So that was one way I tried to cope. But then the biggest way I tried to cope was through sex. Okay. Very, very, very promiscuous. And it didn't matter who it was.
Oh wow.
It didn't matter. It did not matter. Because see, you're listening to a person that at that time was talking and living an experience of, how should I say, unworthiness. I didn't love myself. It was just so much like it was confusion in my head. So anytime someone came to me like, "Ooh, I like you. I think you're cute," I was like, "Okay, well," because now I have control, right? Right? And in the beginning, I didn't have control, but now I have control. And so now, since I have control over my body, it's okay that I'm misusing it and that I'm abusing it because I have control. But I really didn't. But that was the way. So yeah, that was like early. That was like early. Late teen, early 20s.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when did that? So you kind of, I don't want to say killed her.
I'm alive. Whatever.
You got rid of her.
She was gone.
In your 20s. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So May 22nd, 2002 is what happened that day so that you got the date?
Oh, okay. So this is what happened. Now this. Okay. Look, so
four,
now you may want to give me. Now you may want to give me some tissue because every time I talk about this.
Oh wait a minute.
Because it's one of those things. God has always been part of my life, but because how I was acting, I pretended or I wanted to act like he wasn't there. Okay, May, I remember sitting on this purple chase I had, and I was sitting there, and I felt disconnected. You know, when people say disassociate, I felt disconnected from my body. I was tired. I was exhausted. And I was just like, I don't want to do this no more.
You want to do what?
Just be who I was.
Oh, okay.
So I wasn't talking about unaliving myself. No.
Okay.
Good. I'm glad you brought that up. I wasn't talking about unaliving myself. I was just like, I'm tired of her. This person. Mm-mm. So God said, I'm tired of you too. And I'm one of those children. When God talks to me, he has to show me in vision. Because, people can pray for you and somebody can tell you and you may get it, but me, he has to show me in vision because I can be very disobedient until he shows me in vision. And he had to show me in vision. And what I saw was his hands like this and like opening up, like I'm dropping. And I also heard him say, I'm done with you. Now, I heard the Lord say, I'm done with you. And I was like, no, don't be done with me. His hands opened up and I fell into what he showed me to be hell. Okay.
Wow.
I heard screams and cries and turmoil and mental anguish. And he was like, this is where you're going. And I was like, no. And I felt myself like, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. And he was like, no, you got to go. And I was like, Lord, please. And I just kept like praying, save me, save me, save me. And he said, you can't do this anymore. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. After that, I felt him like grab me in his arms, like, you got another chance. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. And I started going around my apartment, just crying. I was like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you. And I looked at the calendar and that was the date.
Wow. And it's so interesting you said that because, because this, I actually called in short notice. And Diane was like, just do it later. I said, no, she has to do it this month. I don't know why, but I want to do it in May.
Yeah, now this is the reason. With mental health.
Right. Mental health and this date is in the book.
For sure.
May is your month.
For sure.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so, how old were you in 2002? Were you still in your 20s?
What how old was I? 27? 26, 27? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, were you in a relationship? Did you have kids?
No, I didn't have any of that. Like none of that. Because this is the thing. I didn't want to be around anybody because I felt like nobody deserved me. Because now I'm kind of coming into like maybe maybe there is some worth about me a little bit. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna be by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna be celibate and I'm gonna do this and I'm not gonna hang around nobody because all those years I have been abusing my body. And
That's
I was
healing.
Like, and it's healing until you feel like, well, is it really healing? Because all you really doing is isolating. Talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't talking to y'all. I'm talking to me. Okay. So I really wasn't healing in the fact that I needed to heal, but at that moment, that's how I needed to heal at the time.
It's
So
part of
like,
your journey.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Mm.
So yeah.
Okay. All right. Now we're in chapter 5. We were talking about let's be exclusive. Now okay, so you found love?
Yes, I did. And so I met my husband. This is so funny. That's when I was celibate. I was celibate for 12 years. I met my husband.
Okay,
and I
back
was
up.
Yeah. I had abused my body. I had like enough sex that for the rest of my life, actually. Like seriously. And I could have like gone and left this earth, never having sex again. Seriously.
12 years?
Yeah, it was like the first year wasn't hard. The second year was kind of hard. The third year it was like, whatever. But by the fifth year, it was like, do I really want to? And then after that, it was like, I don't even care no more. And had no desire. And
so when did you meet your
desire.
husband?
Where?
Mm-hmm.
We met online, social media.
Okay.
So
what are the
okay, so
apps?
first of all, social media. Y'all better get on social media, okay? People always say that is so what they say. That's you never know who you're gonna meet. It's so dangerous.
Well, I guess either
But
way.
it's so dangerous to meet somebody in the grocery store too.
Or at the club.
or at the church.
Or at the church. Call it out.
I just did. Because they don't do right either.
Okay, so there's nothing wrong with meet. A lot of people meet love online.
They did. I mean, I know a
They
lot of
do.
people right now that still, and I advocate for people to meet your spouse, meet your partner anywhere.
Anywhere.
Don't
Be open.
Like,
be open. So
don't
if
limit
you're
yourself.
single,
Yeah.
you're looking for love, be open to that. A lot of people aren't open to that. And
Yeah. So that's where they came in. He asked, can we be exclusive?
So,
and I was
so
like,
you
sir,
wait, let's go back to your online dating. So how many swipe lefts did you do before you
I don't even remember. Like, I don't remember that. I just remember, I think he liked me first. Because,
y'all went on your
when
first
I
date at
started-
Starbucks?
no, we went to Don Pablo. Do they even have Don Pablo anymore? I don't know. Whatever.
I think
and
so, somewhere.
one of the Mexican restaurants has been closed down. Anyway, or was it Elfins? I don't remember. But we went, and on our date, he was just like, I like you. And I said, okay, I like you too. He was like, no, I really do like you. And I said, okay, I like you too. And so he was just like, you don't even get it. I said, I get it. I'm trying to ignore it. And he was like, okay, well, can we be exclusive? And I was like, no.
Like, I just met you, right? Did he ask that on the first date?
He did. But you have to know my husband. Like, my husband is when, okay, let me talking to this camera.
He knew.
Hold on. We're talking to this camera. When a man wants you, he is not going to beat around the bush. He is not going to play around. He's not going to act like you are not important. He's going to make sure that you know that you are wanted, desired, adored, all of that. He's not going to beat around the bush. This man, on the first day, said, let's be exclusive. And I was like, no. And then he told me that on that day, he knew I was his wife. And I was like, okay, whatever. This is crazy. But that's what it was. So that's what the chapter comes in.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's continue
move
on.
Let's move on. Hey.
So it was not my fault.
Okay. So that goes back to the beginning of everything. And not my fault. I brought that in at the very end simply because I want people to know that have dealt with anything. So it not only happens to little girls, it happens to little boys, it happens to old people, men, women. It doesn't matter about race. Okay, anybody can be sexually violated. And it's not your fault. It is not your fault that you were intoxicated. It's not your fault that you had on sexy clothes. It is not your fault that this is someone that you knew very comfortably, and then all of a sudden you no longer wanted to know this person comfortably anymore. It is not your fault. And so that's why I wrote that, because so many people that I have encountered would always say, oh, it's my fault. Not one time did I say this, that it was my fault. Ever.
Did you do it? Was it?
Because I knew it was. And I was like, how does a 1-year-old seduce a grown man? How does that happen? How does it at any age? Like how does that happen? How was this my fault? No. That was on him. That had nothing to do with me. So when I speak to I'm not an English major, but I love words. So when I speak to people that see themselves as victims, survivors, whatever your word is, it doesn't matter. I call myself a thriving warrior because that's who I am. So when I speak to anybody,
right, you can snap with that. Go.
When I speak to anyone, I say, wherever you are on this journey, it is not your fault. Okay? Never. So I want you to know when that comes up, or when you feel like, oh my God, this happened and I'm less than and all that. No, none of that. So I speak to women and men, because men now have started to work with me, to let them know you can empower yourself. Just because this thing happened to you or those things happened to you, that doesn't define you. It never did define you. What it did was get you in a place in your mind or in your psyche, whatever, and it stopped you in your tracks. But you can go forward. You don't stay there. I'm not a victim. I'm not a victim. Right. I'm no longer a survivor. I've survived multiple things in my life. Okay? But who I am is a thriving warrior. Because now I speak up for people that cannot speak for themselves.
Oftentimes we stop at survivor. So I kind of like that, y'all. So,
and you can if you want to.
A thriving warrior.
You can stop at survivor if you want to. If that's how you identify, or that's what you want to say.
That's where you are.
Yeah. Or that's where you are. If that's what you want to say, you can be there. Mm-hmm. And there's no pressure to change the lingo. Okay? But for me, I educate people all the time. When they say, oh, you're a survivor. I say, absolutely, I'm not. I'm a thriving warrior. As a matter of fact, I did not make this up. Rustin, the right-hand man to Martin Luther King, he called the people with him, when they did March on Washington, he called them angelic troublemakers. I was like, that's me. Because that's who I am, angelic troublemaker. Like, I'm a warrior. There's nothing soft about me. And let me say this, and just because you say you call yourself a victim or a survivor, I'm not calling you soft. I'm not calling you soft. Again, I'm talking about my life experience.
All right. Pain to Power, Chapter 7. Yeah, let's talk about that.
So that is everything that I went through, all the pain, and then I turned it into power, because this is who you see today. Now, before I started healing, I was still the type of person that came up extremely confident, but I was faking it, like I was pretending. And when I was a child, I was extremely quiet until you got on my nerves, and then I would be very aggressive. But the pain to power is me showing up in who I am, who God made me to be. There's nothing that is minor about me. There's nothing that is like small about me. Like, I'm a big presence, and I know that.
Yes, you are.
And I know that.
She is.
And so the things that happened to me in life tried to shrink me down. And I let it at one point, but now I don't. So now that was the pain to power, and then now I have purpose, which is the reason why I wear my I Choose Her shirt, and we'll talk about that too. Because now it's gone from, oh, poor baby, to, oh, okay, let me get myself together, to now like, oh, okay, now I'm standing in my power, to now this is the purpose to help others. Because as all this was going on in my life, I always said, why me? Why is it happening? And I was like, okay, now I understand, Lord. It never was about me. Like these books are not about me. It's about others. It never was about me. And I was like, take yourself out of this, because who are you? This happens to so many people. Statistics. Did you know it's 1 out of 4 women that have been sexually abused within like minutes?
No.
There's so many attempts or completed attempts on women. We just say women because women they report more than men. We know it's happening to men too, but it shows up so much, and so that's the thing. It's like this really needs to be discussed, and so that's where that pain, the power, and then I add purpose on it. That's where that comes from.
Okay, and that kind of ties into chapter 8, being silent no more.
Yeah, being silent no more. Like again, it was a journey for me to get here. I understand, and it's not easy, but it was necessary for me because I like to talk. But what I learned is that it's important to listen to others. It's important to listen to others, and it is important to use your voice and to speak, because my voice was never stolen. Like when people say, "Oh, your voice was stolen," my voice was never stolen. My voice was muted, and now since I know my voice was muted, it was one of those things where since I'm on mute, I can press play, I can press unpause, I can press pause, whatever, and I can use my voice. There's a lot of people that come up to me and they say, "I'm so glad that you share your story because your story is mine." I know that. And I also know I used to be afraid to use my voice. So you don't have to speak. It's fine. I tell people all the time, but like when I do conferences and I speak, I say, you don't have to speak it all until you're ready. But since you're not ready, let me speak for you. Because I'm going to.
I like that.
So yes, ma'am.
You awesome.
I am. Thank you. I take it. Because that's exactly what I am.
And your story is just,
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It is.
It's a lot.
It's a lot to take in.
It's a lot. And for you to have and we got some comments, folks saying breaking generational curses, that's deep, and so forth. But I mean, you seem so
What?
together. I mean, you know.
Let me tell you this.
And I love it how people don't look like what they've been through.
Oh, but I used to act like what I've been through. That's what I do now. I tell people, I say, so many times we hear, you don't look like what you've been through, but do you act like what you've been through? Because that's what I did. And no, I don't look like what I've been through. But had you known me years ago, you would be like, oh, something's going on with her because you were acting up. And so that's what we have to watch. We have to watch behaviors and actions. Because people can put on makeup, they can put on the face, we can put on a nice suit, we can put on a pretty dress, all that. But what's going on in here?
Did you ever get resolution as to with your parents?
I did. That is a great question. A lot of people don't ask me that. And that's the part of healing. That's the part of healing. I forgave my dad before he died. My mom, and I forgave, oh my God, I forgave my mom too. Like, this is the reason why I am showing up as I am, because forgiveness truly entered my soul. Like I said, in order for me to use it, you got to forgive. I was like, I don't want to. And I was like, okay, I will. But I did. I forgave my dad and my mom.
Talk to people about forgiveness, because I know a lot of people struggle with that forgiveness, especially when so much trauma.
Oh yeah, for sure
occurred, and it's like how can I forgive this individual for doing that?
Because it's a choice, Donna. It's a choice. It's a choice. That's it. It is a choice.
But you are the better because of you.
If you do not want to forgive, okay. And if you want to forgive, okay. It is your choice to stay where you are. It is your choice to stay in the place of not forgiving. Whatever place you're in, whatever, I already told you I like words. Whatever place you're in, you choose to stay there. And I didn't want to stay there anymore. So I told my dad, I said, I forgive you.
Wow.
Yeah, he was just like, and I kind of looked at him like, he was like, okay. Now, the situation with my mom, she came to me and she told me, I remember we went in a car one day and she says, I feel like there's something you got to say to me. She knew what she was saying. I knew what she was saying. I was like, I'm not going to do that. Because I was never disrespectful to my mom, okay? I was kind of disrespecting my dad because I was like, should have never done that to me. But when my mom came to me, she says, I know it's something you want to tell me. I was like, I don't want to tell you nothing. She said, yes, it is. And I knew, and I just started talking. And I just said, it was like word vomit.
Mm-hmm.
And she sat there and she took it. She was like, and I said some hurtful stuff. But I didn't care and she didn't care because she knew I needed to say it. And after I said it, she says, I'm so sorry. And I cried like a baby. Simply because my mom wasn't a willing participant. In her head, this is what I'm saying. In her head, she was probably thinking this man is going to kill me if I don't. And or this man is going to kill my child or me or whatever. And so I just got to do what he says. Is that condoning my parents? Absolutely not. But I understand. Okay. So that's where the healing came from. Understanding everybody's story.
Did say I'm sorry?
No, he didn't. Understanding everybody's story and background and environments. Because I didn't know my dad grew up the way he grew up. And I was like, makes sense. That makes sense.
Oh,
that's why. Awful. He had a horrible childhood. A horrible childhood. His mom left him. I just feel like this is important to the story. His mom left him, told him and my uncle, you can't come with me. Mr. So-and-so doesn't want y'all. Told her own children that. Mr. So-and-so don't want y'all, so you can't go. And he was like, you better start a new life. This woman was so cold, she moved down the street to where my dad and my uncle could see her having a new life with a new family.
That is crazy.
Because
so
I would always say that this is important
so
too.
Who raised him?
So my grandfather, this is important too. So anytime I would bring up my grandmother, which is my dad's mom, he would say, that beat. And I was like, why does he say that? I can't stand that beat. And then my sister told me, I said, oh, now that makes sense. Which is the reason why he didn't respect women, which is the reason why he used to beat my mom.
Oh.
Okay.
I think Ricky Clark told me there's a book called Shaking the Tree.
And
that kind
Ricky
of
and I had a conversation about that.
Oh, did you? Okay, because he said
he was on my podcast, so we had a conversation.
Oh,
about
did you?
that.
Okay, because he always talks about that. You shake the tree.
Oh, for
there's a whole
sure.
bunch of stuff
For sure.
that comes out
For sure.
out the family tree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, our time is up.
Okay.
Closing remarks. So
I want everyone to know, first of all, these books will be in the Doc Bookshop. I know. Okay. I didn't bring a lot, but however, they will be. Y'all know about the Doc Bookshop. Don't act like y'all don't know. Okay. So this is the book, No More. Okay. And then this is the journal that goes along with it. It's an interactive journal.
But being a victim of sexual abuse is
same
not an
title.
option.
Same
No longer an
title.
option.
And then this is a workbook. Okay. This is the No More Excuses. Let's Heal for Real. And the title is what it is. I mean, you've heard me speak, so you know this title goes along well with me. There's no more excuses. If you want to heal, heal. Stop acting like, oh, I'm too old, I'm too this, I'm too this, I'm too that. That's the reason why you haven't healed. You're making excuses. So this is the reason why I created this, simply because for those that didn't want to go to therapy, those that didn't want to do whatever, but they want to start working on themselves, I created this during COVID because a lot of people, like, counseling wasn't like virtual counseling wasn't a really big thing. And so I was like, you know what, I'm just going to create something for people so they can start answering these hard questions about themselves, things they want to ignore, things they want to deny. It's all in there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And before, I know my time is up. I Choose Her is my nonprofit. Y'all see it?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
let's talk about I Choose Her.
Because the Doc Bookshop is being honored. See, I'm going to talk about it. Let me take over. The Doc Bookshop is being honored. I Choose Her. My nonprofit is, the acronym stands for Healing Emotions Restore. We are a nonprofit, and we help women that have dealt with sexual and physical abuse, okay? And so what we're doing this year, we have partnered with many people in the community, and the Doc Bookshop is one of the people that we have partnered with, okay? But they're being honored because they do some big stuff. Y'all know about them. They've been here 17 years. We have other people, like we have Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett's going to be there. My homie Tim Ross is gonna be there.
Oh,
We
I
have-
love Tim. Really?
We're honoring Tim. Yep. My grandmother is gonna be there. She's gonna be the MVP. Like, there's so many people that we have connected with. You guys are
Wow.
awesome. You're amazing, and we want to honor you. So that's June 6th. It's going to be in Irving, Texas. It's going to be an evening event. It is a formal affair. It's going to be very nice. Come out, support the Doc Bookshop. We have other people that you may want to see. Just come out and just celebrate with us. It could be a great night of networking as well, but it's definitely going to be an event that you don't want to miss.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ashley. Okay, this is my button presser here.
Okay.
Okay, so we are closing out again. Stop by the bookshop, get this book. It's been a very interesting conversation.
Thank you.
And I just, it just it'll make you cry, but in the end, you are a thriving warrior.
Thriving warrior.
Okay, and I love how your story is, that thriving warrior with those beautiful children over
Absolutely.
there. It's just wonderful. Okay, so definitely connect with her. How to connect with you? Give me your Facebook and all
So
that.
Facebook is gonna be Lynn Meyer, Meyer. I do have my website, of course, www.lynnmeyer, LYNNMEYER.com. You can find me on Instagram as the HRT Coach, which stands for Healing, Restoration, and Transformation. And that's pretty much
That's
mine.
it. Okay, well, thank you all for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone.
We appreciate you, and stop by the Doc Bookshop when you can.
Yes.